Former burglars of Reddit, where is one place people should never hide valuables? Former burglars of Reddit, I want to hear from the current burglars of Reddit. I like burglars that don't get caught. Okay. LED lighting is cheap these days. If your house is gonna be vacant for a while, consider investing in one of those smart lighting home automation systems where you can set different rooms to turn on and off at different points in the day, kitchen during dinner time, bedrooms at night, etc. My neighbor did that and it fooled me. I rang his doorbell to ask to borrow a pressure washer wand, with no response. Figured he was with family and wasn't taking any more visitors. But turns out he's been on vacation for the past 4 days. Had my house burglarized by a so-called friend. He missed by far the most valuable thing. It's just a safe sitting on the laundry room floor. He missed it because I'm a scumbag and had it covered with a mountain of dirty clothes and towels. So not being tidy saved me upwards of $35K. This doesn't exactly answer the question asked, but it is a tip on potentially protecting your valuables. Bear with me because it's a bit strange. Glue a spare key, not one that opens something important, under your doormat. Weird, right? A few years ago I did this in addition to installing cameras. Over the last couple of years I've seen this exact scenario play out. Thief walks to the door, checks under the mat, unsuccessfully tries to grab the key, backs up, looks around to see if anyone is watching, presumably because they think they have fallen for some trap prank where they are being surveilled, and leaves. They don't even search for another way in because it spooks them. 50% of the people on my street are either retired or work from home or have a stay-home spouse. Always an old lady watching through her curtains. It's my safest home ever. For the college kids that might read this, don't keep your textbooks in your car. On the day of my finals I had about 6 textbooks I was gonna sell after my finals. I left the books in my car while I took my tests. Came back to find someone broke my window out to steal the textbooks. Cop told me that it's very common and unlikely they will catch the guy, so I was out $700, which was huge as a college student. Also, side note, I used to do door-to-door sales for ADT. People would let me in the house and just tell me where all the important stuff was before even verifying I was legit. Don't do that. I've seen people make false outlets for hiding valuables like cash and jewelry. Just an idea. A burglar would have to be at your home for a long time to start checking outlets. Someone will be in for a surprise if they open the safe I keep in my nightstand. It's full of my kids' baby teeth. Easy cash trade with the tooth fairy though. I'm going to keep a small safe in the living room with a giant foam middle finger inside for when the day comes. I hide my vegetables in the meat drawer of my refrigerator. I had a Malamute dog years ago, had another 2 later, but this was a particularly fluffy one. A friend had heard that it was possible to spin their fur, so I saved enough to knit several jumpers. Anyway, a burglar took stuff from our garage and this massive box of fur too. Must have been quite a surprise. A burglar stole my dad's box of dried up dog shit from the porch once. My dad goes out in the yard once a week to clean up the dog turds and usually throws them in an Amazon box and then tosses it. He left it on the porch for some reason and forgot about it. He realized he forgot about it when he saw it spilled open on the street a block down. We laugh about the turd burglar still. We had our apartments burgled. There were 4 apartments in the area. Guy kicked down the door, and apparently was in or out pretty quickly. I came home from work. Cop told me, never leave valuables in your nightstand. Might have even said bottom drawer. Sure enough, mine were checked. I could tell because my envelopes were moved from where I placed them. I lived in a 4-apartment block. Every apartment got broken into except mine, but the only easily accessible window to my apartment was my dog's room. Nothing like 90 pounds of arsehole that doesn't like someone waking him up from a nap. Fire safes only are safe from fires. Don't keep spare key near front door, under pot plant, under doormat, top of door frame, etc. What about a fake door key? Why would a fake door need a key? To open the fake lock. Why are you excluding active burglars from the conversation? Obligatory, never done it, but you'd be surprised at how often people leave their cars unlocked with nice things inside. A lot of people actually leave them unlocked with the keys inside. It's how the majority of cars are stolen. Eliminating the easy opportunity is the easiest step and will do a lot to keep your valuables safe. My cousin lives in a bad neighborhood, so she went to a thrift store, bought an obvious-looking jewelry box and a bunch of expensive-looking costume jewelry that's actually worthless and put it in the box. She keeps this in a conspicuous place. Then she leaves a few 20s on top. This way, if someone breaks in, they will grab this and run, ignoring some of her well-hidden valuables. Inside vacuum cleaner, we hid money in it and it got stolen with everything else in the house back in Syria. The thief was the military forces that invaded the area, not someone I know or someone desperate. Wow, that sucks. Reading this discussion with fascination and imagining alternative life where I have stuff worthy of stealing. Also, my husband is a hoarder, so I would be grateful if somebody came and stole some stuff. Your shed. Seriously. Lock your shed. Even if your house is well locked. If your shed isn't, I likely have access to a plethora of tools I can use to gain access. Don't help the burglar. Lock your shed. Any safe that's not bolted down and is small enough for 1 to 2 people to carry isn't safe at all. Also, my ex's grandfather had a safe stolen from his home that was bolted down. The thieves wrapped a chain around it and ran it out the window to a truck. Took the safe straight through the wall. All they had to do was follow the drag marks though. But still. Don't leave things out that people can see from outside your home or car. If you buy a new TV or computer, break down the box it came in. Don't just leave it by your garbage bin. Lock doors and windows. Keep your handbag close and closed. If someone wants to break in, they will. Don't keep everything out in the open. And have insurance on anything that is valuable. A safe. Also, almost all locks are bullshit unless you had a locksmith put in security pins. But the robbers can just take the safe and figure it out later if time is an issue. On the lock issue, if you are in the US, there are about 5 major door lock manufacturers. A thief can have just 5 bump keys, plus a few others just in case, and get in your house easily. A bump key is just a referenced key that is ground down to 4 or 5 equal triangular points. When inserted with the proper bump key to the lock, you just bump the back of the key with a rubber mallet and try to time the turn when all of the pins align. Usually just takes about 5 tries or less. That's why you have to use a couple £100 gun safe that takes 3 people to get into a spot that it doesn't fit, so it's wedged in there. I heard a lot of people hide stuff in the air vents. Is it searched usually? Also, my mum used to hide what little valuables we had in a small space behind our washing machine, a really heavy one. Except if you knew it was there, you couldn't know there was a space here, and that it was accessible. She had to spend 10 to 15 minutes hiding stuff because it was really hard to access. So I guess that burglars wanting to do their thing as quickly as possible wouldn't spend time looking there. Not a burglar or former burglar, but never hide keys and lock combinations in a jar near the door or under your welcome mat. Also, if you purchase something big, like a TV or something big, never leave the box near your home. The burglar would see it and know you have something valuable in there. I know this sounds crazy, but mow your lawn frequently. It'll show that you have been and had enough time to mow your lawn and that someone must be there. It's obvious. But only announce your trips when you're finished, so at first nobody knows you're not there. Tax driver. Sir, please tell me where you wanna go. Me, nah man, I'll tell only after I reach there. Inside one of those small lock boxes. It's great when you find one because they're simple to open, and if they don't have a wall safe, then all of their main valuables and money are usually in it. Jackpot. My dad had a small one bolted to the floor that contained about $50,000 cash in it. He told me about it a few days before he died and said it was mine now, but he never gave me the combination or where it was exactly. Took me longer to find the thing than open it. I ended up prying it off the floor and taking the whole thing back to my house, where I had more tools to open it up. Closets. Gold mine for jewelry. Obligatory, not a burglar, but I did work at bank. Another teller told me about how this woman brought in a flower pot to the girls' teller station. The bank teller was understandably confused when the woman pointed at the flower pot and says, "I need to make a deposit." Turns out, this woman had planted thousands of dollars in her flower pot over the years. The problem, she watered that flower for years with the money planted in the soil. Not only that, but she wrapped every bill in duct tape to keep the water from messing up the bills. The teller had to dig into the pot and help this woman unwrap money from duct tape. The teller said the worst part was the bills were soggy and moldy when they unwrapped them, so most of them were torn, or the ink was faded beyond readability, so the woman lost money. Don't put your money in flower pots or wrap it in duct tape. And where do you guys live? Just really curious. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. Avoid having your valuables stolen by not having any valuables. Not a burglar, but our home has been broken into. We only had the one bedroom at the time, but the places that the burglar looked into were the closet. Everything was thrown out. Desk drawers found a bit of cash and our passports were taken. The entry furniture drawers, under the bed, bedside tables. At least now I know where not to hide valuables. Not that I have any. Not a burglar, but grew up in a high crime area and knew some boys out there hitting licks. Bit off topic, but there were some guys that would ride a bike through busy parking lots searching for women loading up after shopping and leaving their purse unattended in their shopping cart. Ride by and snatch. Then have a getaway route that a full-sized vehicle can't follow them through. We had a huge safe that takes 2 to 3 people to move. They broke into my house and flipped everything all over searching, but when they found the safe they left everything else and focused on taking that. I even had iPads and Rolex watches lying around in open. Point is, we kept the safe empty. Would only keep a few fake pieces of jewelry in case there was ever a home invasion. We could offer them something to take. My mother has a closet filled with food supplies. Boxes of bags of spices and such. There's at least 3 dozen such boxes at all times in said closet. One of them, and she replaces it regularly so the expiration date remains relevant. She opens up carefully, fills with valuables, and then carefully closes back up. She had me try to find which one of the boxes it was. I genuinely couldn't tell from sight alone. Only the slightly different heft tipped me off after 10 minutes. No burglar will ever find that stash. Pro tip. Hide your small valuables inside a used, empty fire extinguisher. No one is going to steal a fire extinguisher. I had a fire extinguisher stolen from my car. Damn, there goes my whole game plan. My dad and 2 uncles were once looking after my house for my grandma. They were about 11, 17 and 18 when they heard someone knocking about the garage. So my dad and uncle 18 and 17 went out and found a burglar, and threatened to beat him up if he didn't leave the property. He had his ladder next to the garage to try and get in from the top. I don't know what he was doing that for, and as he left he asked if he could at least take his ladder with him. To this day my dad still has that ladder. I am a police officer. Hiding your valuables is fine, but ideally you don't want to get even to the point where someone is in your house. Most people worried about where to hide their valuables would be better off spending time considering their house's security from the outside. My advice: front perimeter. Unless you have a gated mansion, then your front door is going to be accessible from the street. That means there is no benefit security-wise in high fences, prickly hedges, etc. All these do is screen your house from view, making it far easier for someone to break into without being seen. If you're looking at 2 houses and only one can be seen from the road, then you're 100% going to be breaking into the other. That's why picket fences, low hedges, walls, etc. are ideal. A gravel driveway is a nice touch too, nice and noisy, so anyone approaching your house makes their presence known. Rear perimeter. Completely the opposite advice is true here. At least here in the UK, the rear of most houses is shielded from view, so anyone getting into your back garden will have undisturbed access to your house. So you want to shield your house from view and make access difficult. Tall hedges, solid fences, prickly bushes, etc. are your friends. Flat roofs. Here in the UK it's common to have a single-story garage with a flat roof attached to your house. Often the house will have a window that opens over it. That window needs to be closed. Exterior lighting, cameras and alarms. Both make a house much less attractive to a burglar. Lights, both motion sensing and just a simple porch light, make someone scoping out the house or trying to force entry much more visible. Cameras and alarms are pretty obvious deterrents. Again, it's about making your house a less tempting target than others as opposed to creating an impenetrable fortress. Sheds. Sheds are a soft touch for burglary. Garden tools, bikes, DIY tools, etc., are expensive and very easy to sell second-hand. Go on eBay and look at the price of a decent second-hand petrol mower or leaf blower. That's easy money and low risk when you consider that it takes about 2 seconds to cut off a padlock and no one will be sleeping in the shed. Don't leave expensive kit in sheds. Cover the windows so that the contents can't be readily seen, and install motion sensing lighting to cover them. If you're keen as mustard, there are even cheap wireless alarms that link to basically a doorbell in the house. But the best advice is just be sensible what you're storing there. Breaking and entering tools. Don't leave your ladders and other tools that can be used to break into your house readily accessible outside it. I've seen houses with open upstairs windows and a set of ladders stored visibly down one side of the house. If you're leaving out tools that a burglar can use to break into your house, then you're doing it wrong. Tradesman. When you park your van outside your house, you are saying, "I've got expensive tools here." Don't leave them in your van. Letterboxes. This probably isn't an issue for the States, but here in the UK we have letterboxes through our front doors. Most people also keep their house and car keys by the front door. If you can look through your letterbox and see your keys, then you need to move them. They can easily be hooked through the letterbox using, e.g., the top segment of a fishing rod. Then someone will be driving around in your car with a set of keys to your house. Spare keys. Don't hide a key outside your house. Certainly don't hide it in a fake rock, etc. If you absolutely must, then at least bury it in a flower bed or something. You're better off leaving a key with a friend or burying it in their flower bed, if you must, but don't give it to them with a key ring identifying your house. Also, don't leave a spare key in your car. Someone breaking into your car won't need to look up your address. There'll always be some paperwork or other in there that identifies it. Perhaps most importantly, get to know your neighbors and share your plans with them. If you're going away for a week, then tell them. Neighbors who generally know each other's habits will notice when there is a strange van parked in your drive, or lights are mysteriously turning on whilst you're out of town, and they'll be more likely to act rather than minding their own business. Be conscious of what you can see through your windows. For example, as you approach my front door, you walk past the window to a room full of various computing kit that look expensive. When I'm not using the room, I normally close the blind simply to conceal what's inside. Otherwise, I'm suggesting to anyone calling at the house for any reason that there is expensive gear lying around the place. Finally, break into your house. Or at least, figure out how you would. That will show you the weaknesses. When I was a student, I was really bad at locking myself out of the house and would regularly need to break in. I've climbed the back fence to access a back door I suspected was left unlocked. Used a piece of card to flick open the locks on sash windows. Managed to wriggle down an old coal chute into the cellar, etc. Each time I'd fix the problem, but next time I was faced with the need to get inside, I'd find another way in. It's a very helpful exercise to test your security.